SUGA did not expect a hill to almost break him. Not after a show the night before. Not with another performance waiting just hours away. But at 6 in the morning, standing in the cold San Francisco air, he had no idea what was actually coming. It was May 17th. A Sunday. SUGA had just wrapped a show the night before. And instead of resting, he woke up before sunrise to run a 12-kilometer race. Then he'd go straight back to perform again later that same day. No excuses. No shortcuts. Just him, a bib number, and a course he hadn't fully studied. He got ready the way anyone would before a big physical challenge. Sunscreen. A quick joke about not putting it too close to your eyes unless you want to be crying later. A camera check. A calm, focused look on his face that said he was locked in. Then he headed to the starting line. The scene there told its own story. Runners in every kind of outfit imaginable. Cold air, nervous energy. SUGA stood among strangers, all of them chasing their own version of the same goal. He admitted it himself. When else would he ever get to do something like this? Then the countdown hit 0, and he was moving. The first stretch felt easy. Controlled. He reminded himself to stick to his own pace. Not get caught up in anyone else's rhythm. For a few minutes, everything felt like it was going exactly to plan. Then the hill showed up. Nobody warned him it would be like this. What started as a normal incline kept climbing. And climbing. SUGA's breathing got heavier. His pace dropped. This was the section runners quietly fear before every race. The one that separates a good run from a rough one. He pushed through it step by step. Visibly struggling, visibly determined not to stop. And just when he thought it was over, it was not. The hill kept giving him more. Another incline appeared right where he expected relief. Then another. He'd later admit it out loud, half laughing, half exhausted. He kept thinking the climb was finished, only to find out there was always one more waiting at the top. This is where the real story of the run lives. Not in the finish line. In that stretch where his body wanted to quit, and his mind had to talk it into continuing. He hit what runners call the wall. Right in the middle of that brutal climb. It's the point where your legs feel heavier than they should. Your breathing turns ragged. And quitting suddenly feels like a reasonable option. SUGA felt all of it. And he kept moving anyway. When he finally reached the top, the relief on his face was immediate. He could breathe again. The crowd's energy picked him back up. Water stations appeared right when he needed them most. His pace slowed for a moment as his legs tried to recover from what they'd just been through. But he pushed to speed back up, knowing the finish line was getting closer. 700 meters left. Then 500. He could see the end now. And after everything that hill had put him through, that final stretch must have felt like the easiest part of the entire race. He crossed the finish line just under 1 hour and 4 minutes. Close. So close to breaking the 1 hour mark. And the moment he stopped running, all he could talk about was that hill. He said it himself. If it had not been for that climb, he's convinced he would have finished under an hour. Not an excuse. Just an honest rid on how much that section had taken out of him. Standing there with his medal, recovering with a banana for the carbs, SUGA reflected on what had just happened. He admitted that somewhere in the middle of that uphill nightmare, he genuinely wondered why he was even doing this to himself. That's the moment most people quit. He didn't. Instead, once it was over, he felt something shift. Pride, maybe. Or just the simple relief of having survived something harder than expected. He compared it to every other run he's ever done, insisting he'd never faced an incline like that in his life. His team agreed. Nobody there had experienced a hill that steep, that relentless, that deceiving. Then, almost as a reward for pushing through it, there was the ocean. He wanted to show Aramem that view, this quiet, massive stretch of water that felt like the exact opposite of the chaos his legs had just been through. A calm ending to a punishing morning. On the way home, the conversation kept circling back to the same thing. That hill. Over and over, in different words, but always the same disbelief. It was not just steep. It felt, in his own words, basically like a mountain. And here's the part that makes this more than just a race recap. SUGA had a show the night before this run, and another performance waiting right after it. No rest days. No easing into it. Just back-to-back physical demands. One right after the other, on a body that had already given everything on stage hours earlier. So the real question isn't about the 12 kilometers, or even that brutal hill. It's about what it actually takes to keep showing up like this, physically and mentally, when the schedule gives you no room to recover. How much of an idol's life gets seen by fans, and how much of it happens in these quiet, exhausting mornings that never make it to the highlight reel? What does it really cost to keep pushing through moments like this, again and again, without ever letting the exhaustion show on stage? Let us know what you think in the comments, and subscribe to Celebzova for more behind the scenes breakdowns you won't find anywhere else.